Hey soon-to-be parents, congratulations! But are you feeling a little bit overwhelmed about what's to come?
If you are, don't worry, because today we're here to share some tips so that you can survive this new chapter. Becoming parents is one of the most rewarding times of your life, but we're not gonna lie, it's not without its challenges too.
That's why we've put together this little video with some advice to help make that transition a bit easier.
So whether you're about to have your first child or you're already a parent, but it's been a while since you've been around newborns,
we hope you find this helpful.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with my husband Dave today for today's video.
G'day, how you going?
And we've made ourselves a drink. This is another sit down chatty video, but this time it's two of us. Dave's got some electrolytes as well.
Yep. I'm midway through marathon training, so I'm chugging these like there's no tomorrow.
I'm not marathon training, but I'm just a mum of twins and I'm exhausted. I am exhausted. So these are great whether or not you're exercising or like me, you're not. They're just a really good way to rehydrate and re-energize.
Yep.
So I've mixed them today with some soda water and some lime. It's the watermelon flavor. These are always linked in the description box below if you want to get yourself some. Hits the spot. But whatever you're drinking today, make sure you have a beverage ready. Settle in, let's get going. I have my phone here with me because I've got some questions that I want to ask Dave and we're going to chat about them. And we're also going to give 10 top tips. These are our 10 tips because our twins, Revy and Rue, are quickly approaching 1.
And where has the year gone? It's felt like they were born yesterday and 10 years ago all at the same time.
That's
been such a big year.
It's huge, it's been massive. And before we forget what this last year has been like, we wanted to get this video up and out there because if you're about to become a parent for the first time, oh my gosh, we were looking for videos exactly like this. Okay, so let's tear in. What are the biggest changes you see in yourself after becoming a parent?
Really hard to say. I think it's not so much like, you know, a physical or anything like that, but it's like a whole mindset shift in the sense that you're now, your primary concern is not you or your significant other first anymore. It's definitely like always with your kids.
Yes.
So that's the biggest change I've seen in myself. And it's one I'm really happy about. What about you?
I think it's just this like realization that I used to think that I was like tired, exhausted, you know, stressed, didn't have enough time for anything. That's not true. I definitely had a lot of time and I don't know how I used to use it because...
You'll find pretty soon that if you get 5 minutes free, you can achieve a lot in 5 minutes, whereas previously you were like, oh, it's only 5 minutes, I'm not gonna do anything.
That's really true. Yeah, I've become a lot more kind of efficient, I guess, with my time.
Yeah.
Would probably be it. How do you balance your time being a parent and maintaining your own hobbies and interests?
Great question again. We had a chat.
Not a game show. But...
We had a chat with my brother and sister-in-law over Christmas, and they have a really great system for this. So they sit down once a week and map out their goals for the week, which might include things that they personally want to achieve during that week and how they can each help the other make that happen. And I think that's a really good way of doing it. You still need to figure out what you want to do personally as an individual. And, you know, for me, as I mentioned, you know, I'm doing a bit of marathon training and together we're making that time for me to do that. So it's, you know, it's me time and I've found it really valuable.
What Dave's saying is so true that it really takes teamwork for that approach to work. So the two of you, like your partner and you, or if you've got a support person who's helping you while you're making this transition, having that person there definitely helps if you've got certain things. So we'll catch up and we'll just say, I'm doing this, and we try to make it work time-wise. And the other thing as well is for me just being like, realistic with what I can achieve in a week too. So yeah, but having you time is really, really important because otherwise you'll burn out. So if you don't have somebody who like is there to support you, if there's an option for you to have a couple of hours where you can put your baby into daycare or have a family member or a friend like come over where you can take a shower, that you can just kind of like just unplug, anything like that just goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did anything surprise you about becoming a parent for the first time?
So much poop. So much poop. No, so yeah, I think what really surprised me about becoming a parent for the first time, and especially because it was twins, is just how much time is invested into newborns. It's not just it's not like adding a day job. It's a 24/7 job, and especially during those first couple months, that really knocked me for six. A lot of people were like, having babies, make sure you get some sleep now. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I get it, because you don't really get a lot at that early stage. Yeah.
That comment like annoyed me so much, because at the end of your pregnancy, like, you can't sleep. Sleeping is so hard. You're getting up to pee all the time, you can't roll over, you can't move. I was literally like in so much pain when I would go to bed. Bed used to be a safe place for me. We'd like cozy up. No, not in my last trimester of my pregnancy. But this video is not supposed to be specific to twins, but what Dave is saying made me laugh, just because while we were preparing for the twins to arrive, Dave kept being like to me, he'd say things like, twins is probably like 1.5 babies work, because you're already doing it for one baby. So why not just like, it's not that hard to do it for a second.
Yeah.
And I thought, as he said it, I was just like, oh, just you wait, just you wait, just you wait.
And what did we find?
I knew it was gonna happen, but I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to like speak negatively, but it's definitely like more than 2.
It was a non-linear increase. It was exponential, the amount of time, work, blood, sweat, tears.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. I think for me, what surprised me the most is the tiredness, because we don't have great sleepers, and I just kind of, that part has surprised me. And also I fall into the trap of comparing myself to our friends all the time. So we have a friend who just had a baby like a month ago, and that baby's already like doing these big stretches through the night, and I quickly fall into the trap of being like, oh, what have I done that we didn't get that, So that's something that personally I need to work on.
So yeah, this video is not twin specific, but if you are expecting multiples, stay strong.
Welcome to the club.
We're thinking of you.
It's a good club to be part of. Let's kick into our 10 top tips, and then we'll finish up with a couple last things. Okay, so first tip.
So our first tip is a real simple one, but it's one that you might easily overlook in the rush and the mayhem before delivery, and that is just to stock up on those essentials: diapers and wipes.
Yeah, that's a really good one, because when they're on sale, it can't hurt. And if somebody wants to get you a present and they don't know what to get you, and you've already got all the things on your registry list, just ask for diapers.
It never hurts to have them.
Nappies, diapers, same. Yeah, we interchange the terms, but yeah, make sure you ask for those things.
Yeah, we were stocking up when they were on sale for quite a while beforehand, and that really saved us, because again with twins, but we just didn't get the chance to pop out and grab diapers. It was just a lot.
Yeah, and that's actually tip number 2, which is have a think about food and prepare that in advance as well, because as Dave said, for us at least, getting out of the house, going and getting groceries was really hard, especially because when we had the twins, we also had the added difficulty of COVID kind of breaking out, so people were sort of trying to minimize the amount of times they were going to the supermarket. But even still, depending on the time of the year that you are having your baby, seasonal illnesses, like you really don't want to be bringing that into your home if you can avoid it, while the baby's immunity is getting better and growing. So try to prepare in advance, whether that's freezer meals or something that we did, which actually worked really well for us, was signing up to a meal subscription service of ready-made meals. So we signed up to Made, which is part of Food Bag in New Zealand, My Food Bag, but there are so many different ones all over. And again, that could be a really great registry present to potentially put on your registry list, is to ask for a subscription to one of those. Or if you have lovely friends and family who want to help and they're asking what you need, ask them for food. Ask them to make you a dish, whatever that is, something easy, something fast.
And yeah, having healthy food just at your fingertips is so crucial, because when you're sleep deprived and everything is hard, you're just going to want to reach for the naughty food.
Oh, I was
whatever
going to
you've
say,
got.
it doesn't need to be healthy, honestly. If someone's willing to make you food, no, I swear to God, like I was going to eat anything. I was starving, breastfeeding, you're so hungry. Dave and I follow a keto lifestyle, but when we were in the newborn days, we did not follow a keto lifestyle. We were having all the pastas, all the rice, all the potatoes, and that's fine. So, I mean, do you? If you want healthy meals though, you can have your friends and family prepare healthy meals, or just eat what you need to survive. And that also includes having snacks on hand, okay? Breastfeeding mamas. And for me, I also needed lollies, candy, chocolate, because I was doing this thing called cluster feeding, which nobody told me about, which involved me basically being up the entire night, breastfeeding one baby for hours and hours on end. Then the other twin woke up and I'd breastfeed that one. And I needed sustenance in the form of sugar, okay?
It's like a mini top tip there is to Google cluster feeding before you experience it, because yeah, we were never told about this phenomenon, and it's a nightmare. And yeah, so no, forewarned is forearmed, and I think if the more you can know about that. Anyway, that's an aside.
Well, it's not really an aside, because the next tip, you've kind of segued us in, and that is, before the twins came, we did antenatal classes. We actually did 2 antenatal classes. One that was specific to twin parents of multiples, and the other was just like a standard antenatal class. And they were really good because they gave you like an overview of what to expect, you know, like what to expect if you have a C-section or natural delivery, like all that kind of stuff. But they didn't really touch on what happens after the baby comes. We spent probably 90% of the class on birthing the baby, delivering the baby, going into labor, all that stuff. And in the scheme of things, that's over like that. It's over so fast. So instead of doing like an antenatal class, or do one, but maybe you could find one that's like online and kind of like goes over things potentially, getting some help and some advice on what to expect when baby comes is so great. We worked with somebody named Courtney who helps parents. She does like Zoom calls, and she taught us how to swaddle, how to change diapers, feeding, bottle options. She went over like everything, didn't she, in such a thorough manner. And we felt so much more prepared, didn't we?
Yeah.
So if you can't work with somebody like that, then just YouTube it. Look up how to swaddle. Look up how to change diapers. Like, prepare on those crucial things.
Yeah. Because at 2 a.m, that's what's going to save you from going spare.
Yeah, seriously. So just spend a little bit of time getting those basics down. The next tip is, don't be afraid to ask friends and family for help, especially in those early days.
Yeah. Take all the help you are offered.
Little funny, not really funny story, like it still makes me feel a little bit is when Dave and I were in hospital with the twins. This is like, they have just been born, like hours ago. The nurses in the hospital thought that we already had kids. They thought we had kids and they were at home, and these were our like whatever, second, third, fourth babies. And they said that because we just seemed so natural with them, which from our perspective, we were like absolute noobs, such novices, right?
Yeah, I don't know whether they were just being nice because they were understaffed and they like literally couldn't give us more attention, but it made us feel good for a minute.
It did make us feel good for a minute. They were like, oh, you know what you're doing, you're fine. But Dave was literally one time with the nurse, and she asked if you knew how to change a nappy, and you were like, have you had changed a nappy before? And you were like, no, I haven't. So she showed Dave in person because he got the fright. Even though we'd gone over it, he knew the basics, he knew what to do.
I knew the theory behind dirty nappy off, clean nappy on.
But still
I'd never
helpful.
changed a nappy until it was my own child's. And now,
There's a lot of people.
a year of twins, probably about 5,000 nappies.
Okay, exaggeration. But
Do the maths.
That happened to us when we were in the hospital, the nurses saying that. And then I think Dave and I just did this, somehow we just like managed to look like we had things together. And we weren't trying to at all. We were just trying to literally survive because we felt so overwhelmed. And family didn't offer to help or like step in and like take the lead. And we felt awkward asking for help because we didn't want to impose ourselves on them, and they didn't want to offer because they didn't want it to come across as though we needed the help or anything. So someone just needed to make the first move, basically. And we did that finally a couple weeks in, like 3 or 4 weeks or something in, didn't we?
I think you asked for some meals and stuff.
Yeah, I made a call to my sister and I was like, SOS, mayday, mayday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We're going down, we're going down. And once I told her that we were really struggling and we just, we needed somebody just to come over and unload the dishwasher and help us put on a load of laundry and just those kind of things just to help us kind of get on top of things. The army was assembled and they were here.
Yeah.
And I know that that's not something that everybody has the luxury of having. You might live away from family, but if you have friends or family who are offering to help or who you know that you could reach out to them, do it. Yeah, don't turn down help if it's offered to you.
Next top tip is to remember that everyone and every baby is different, and so trying not to compare our situations and what our baby is like to others.
That's definitely something I need to work on, but there are so many ways to approach parenting, and different things work for different babies and different things work for different families. So really, you can prepare as much as possible and do these things, be stocked up on what you need, make plans with food, Google how to swaddle, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's only when the baby gets here that you're going to figure out what works for you. For us, having a schedule worked, but for a lot of people, not having a schedule works best for them and they go off of the baby's cues. So remember that there's no one size fits all approach, and that's totally okay. If you can, try to get outside for a little bit of fresh air and exercise if possible.
For us, it made a huge difference being able to get outside, just breathe a bit of fresh air and see a bit of sun. That made a huge difference for our mental health, and just move a little bit. It was great. It really was great, and it set us up for the next round of madness inside.
I wasn't allowed to go for a walk for, I don't know how long it was. It might have been the first week or something until I got the all clear that I could go, not for like a walk, like a proper walk, because you don't move fast at all, but just kind of like a shuffle outside. But that shuffle outside was so nice. And I feel like the babies loved it too, because they would sleep, didn't they? They slept in the stroller. We were outside. We could like walk to a cafe, get a coffee, and just escape our house, which felt like it was like closing in on us. It felt like being in lockdown again. You're just like surrounded by all the baby paraphernalia, and it was nice just to like get out and talk to each other, or not if you just want like a breather and just to like walk in silence. That's great too. But yeah, definitely try to get outside if you can. We kind of covered this a little bit in a previous tip, but remember that there are so many resources available online, like blogs, there's podcasts, there's YouTube videos, there's lots of advice out there on different things. And as you approach a different stage, if you have questions or concerns, there can be some really great advice online that you don't have to always hire an expert right away and pay for that advice too. Obviously, if there's something medical going on, you should absolutely go and get advice. But things like burping a baby or winding a baby, if you're not sure if you're doing it right, there's some really great techniques and tips. I remember you learned about the tiger.
Oh, yeah.
Was it called the hanging tiger?
Yeah, the tiger in the tree.
Tiger in the tree.
That's
Dave learned about that one online where he'd like rest the newborn like against his forearm and kind of like, yeah. So there's things like that which was really helpful.
Simple stuff, yeah.
Simple stuff.
And lean on, friends who have had babies, family, all that kind of thing as well. Just for little tricks to help get you by and little advice here and there.
Yeah, don't become obsessed with that stuff though, because that's super easy to become obsessed with it when you start reading and worrying if you're doing it right. So remember the advice about not comparing yourself. And also for us personally, we chose not to pay attention to the leaps and the regressions and all that kind of stuff, because some people find that really helpful because it helps them to explain why their baby is acting differently, because as your baby is growing, they're developing mentally and they're learning so much, and that can cause their sleep to be disrupted, all kinds of things as they're adjusting. But if we found out that was happening, it was a bit too much, wasn't it? We'd rather just, you've got to go through it regardless. We'd rather just go through it. It's done. The baby kind of comes back to normal. So figure out what approach works for you.
Exactly. Find the solutions for every day that work for you, because you'll try everything. You're going to find really early on that things are going to be chaotic in the beginning. Just accept it. It's so much easier that way. You won't be, losing your mind trying to keep things at a certain level of what you think how things should go. Just accept that, things will be crazy and it will get better.
It will get better. We keep saying that to ourselves actually on our daily walks. It gets easier, it gets easier. We didn't believe it, we didn't know that was true, but that's what people told us, and we were hanging on to hope that that was the case.
Yeah, and people said, look, at 6 weeks, things will get better. 6 weeks came, wasn't a lot easier.
Wasn't easier.
Oh no, it's actually 3 months, other people said. No. So people will say all sorts of things, but the truth is that it'll get easier when it gets easier. And also you'll get better. Because you're learning every single day. You're becoming closer with your partner, you're becoming closer with your babies, you're learning, you're feeling each other out, finding all those sorts of things. You're learning how to soothe them, how to make them happy and all that sort of stuff. So it gets easier and you get better.
Yeah, I think it's almost like comparable to starting a new job and going to your first day at work. Do you remember how you feel nervous and you feel out of place and you feel awkward? You don't have your routine down. You don't know where, you sit for lunch. You don't know, just all those little things, where do you go and get coffee? Just like all of the small things, what cup you use, just everything. Over time, as you figure out your routine, as Dave said, things get easier. They get easier because you get better. The baby's still hard at every single stage, and that's okay. And accepting that it's going to be chaotic also just gives you grace. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a perfect parent. Your baby doesn't expect you to be a perfect parent. All you need to do is just love and care for your baby, and everything else will work itself out.
When you start a new job, chances are you'll get a manual or some kind of training document. It ain't coming with your baby. I checked. So yeah, it is going to be chaos. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Enjoy
It's still chaotic. For Dave and I, wherever we go, we just say we're the traveling circus. Other people look so chic and they've got like matching everything, and we're just like loaded up to the nines. But
Is
that's
everyone
okay.
breathing? Yeah. It's a win.
If you can, try to make some time for yourself during the day, even if it is just 10 minutes.
A shower, a little wander outside. Maybe you can read a couple of pages of a book. If you can at all, it'll make a world of difference for your mental health and all of that kind of thing.
Yes, some things that I remember that I did was I signed up to Audible and got an Audible subscription before just before the twins came, and I downloaded some books on Audible that I wanted to listen to, because when you're up at night breastfeeding and all that kind of stuff, it's quite nice to listen on your like little earpods. I had earpods that I could listen to a book on. Those kind of things really helped, and that was still me time, even though I was doing things for the twins. And yeah, having a shower where somebody else can look after the babies, or whatever it is that kind of like fills your cup in a small way. Hopefully you have somebody who can help support you so that you can each do that.
Yeah, for me it was a shower or 15 minutes of a video game or a little jog or something, and yeah, it was kept me human.
Yeah, it does, it helps.
In that early chaos.
Yes. And if you can, try to make some time for your partner each day as well. And again, that can just be a really small amount of time.
It's nice.
Well, it's such a massive shift to your relationship. Like Dave said, that something that he learned was that all of a sudden you're not focusing on yourself and your partner anymore. The entire focus is just on your baby, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or babies for us.
It's like such a cliche. People talk about like having their partner in crime. When you have a child, you really do become such a team.
Yeah.
And for us, it's the only way to get things done. And yeah, you will grow stronger, even though you have so much less time for each other. So little things you can do to say, hey, I love you, I appreciate you.
Well, it's such a challenge, because Dave and I, before we had the twins, we never bickered, but all of a sudden it's like you're both doing things, like you both have the same end goal, which is to care for and raise, the absolute loves of your life, you know, or they loves of our life because we've got twins, but the love of your life, your baby, you know, your pride and joy. But it can just be like, you know, have you washed this or done this? And the way you can say it when you're both sleep deprived, it can just come off the wrong way. So fights and disagreements and bickering is probably bound to happen. Like 99% of people would probably experience that, right?
Yeah, and the bottom line of most fights, I think, is probably I'm more tired than you. It's like the undertone.
Who's the most tired and most exhausted? So if you can, it is luxury, but if you can, make some time together. For Dave and I, that was actually what we knew that the twins had, they would sleep at night from like 10:30 or 11 or something for like, there'd be like a 3-hour stretch there, wouldn't there?
Yeah.
So Dave and I had this wacky schedule when they were newborns, like just weeks old, and they would go to bed and Dave and I would have dinner together at like 11 p.m. at night, and we would, because we didn't start our day till like 1 p.m. That was like when we had like breakfast, because I was up throughout the night, Dave was up helping me throughout the night. It was crazy. But we'd have dinner together, just the two of us. Babies would be in their bassinets asleep, like not in the room with us. We'd have dinner, we'd watch Nailed It, probably on Netflix.
That's right.
Give us some laughs.
Yep.
And we would like heat up our dinners, which were just, you know, the made meals. And we would sit together on the couch and we would laugh, and it would just be like adult time. And that was us. That was what we did.
Yeah, and we had a laugh and it was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, we'd talk and be like, whoa.
What is happening?
What's happened? Final reminder is, remember, your baby is only going to be small once, so even though it's really hard, try to relax and try to enjoy it as much as you can.
Take photos, because you'll never regret taking as many photos and videos as you can.
So true.
So valuable, and they grow fast.
They do.
They grow fast, and they're only little one time.
We're here at 1 year old. And if you want to see what our newborn days will look like, we have heaps of vlogs that we filmed. They're all linked on my channel, and I'll leave a link to the playlist in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video and checking it out. We hope you enjoyed it and you found it helpful.
You're going to be amazing parents, and don't listen to any advice you don't want to take.
Yes.
Be yourself, love yourselves, go easy on yourself, and enjoy the ride.
Yay! We're so excited for you. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Ka kite.
Bye.
See ya.